My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tec Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tec Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tec Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we head to Hervey Bay on Queensland's Fraser Coast as the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championship hits the open waters for the final time in 2017. Then we return to terra firma and head to Sydney Motorsport Park as the FX Superbike title fight is set to intensify with the penultimate round of the Swan Super Series. This is Speedweek.
G'day and welcome to the show, and here we are on the beautiful Fraser Coast here at Hervey Bay in Queensland for round number 5 of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championship. My name's Dave Bishop. We're going to bring you all the action here for the final round. I tell you what, the points championship has come down to the wire, and we're going to see some desperate teams out here with only one more opportunity to try and get the job done here at beautiful Hervey Bay. We're going to see some rough conditions. Let's have a look at the points as they stand at the moment. Supercat Extreme, Maritimo Australia sitting on top of the table, back to the Mega Fuels in third place, 222, Maritimo Racing and Team Australia 2 not here this weekend. Supercat Outboard, 88 Power Zone is on top here. Back to the Phantom, Mancini Cosmetics, Saracen and SUV Simrad back in the game here this weekend. So Supercat Outboard can go either way here this weekend. In the overall points championship for the Oz 1 trophy, Maritimo Australia currently has a 50-point lead back to the 222. Then it's the Mega Fuels, 88 Power Zone, Maritimo Racing, Phantom, Mancini Cosmetics and Team Australia 2. Well, with only 2 weeks between the 4th and 5th rounds here, teams have only had a very short period in which to get these boats turned around and back out on the water. Let's check and see how they've done. The beautiful waters of Hervey Bay once again play host to the final round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. And with championships on the line across the board, it's the ideal Hollywood script the series organisers have been hoping for all year long.
Maritimo 12 looking the goods, but cannot afford a DNF. It's still that close. And same goes in Supercat Outboard. There's just no room for a mess up today, no room for a $30 part failure, because there goes your championship. And that's really great. We've had 5, we're in the 5th round this weekend, and it's come down to this, which is super cool.
The main focus today will be the title fight for both Supercat Extreme and the Oz 1 titles. Maritimo Australia holds a relatively comfortable lead heading into the final round, but 222 Offshore and Mega Fuels are ready to pounce if they suffer a DNF.
Yeah, no, we've got a lead in the Oz 1, and we've got quite a big lead in the Supercat Extreme. So it's all about finishing and just collecting points today, though. That's the only thing that can really make us come unstuck is a DNF here this weekend. So it's definitely going to be a conservative strategy. We're more thinking about the championship and rather than the individual races themselves. That's not going to say that, you know, if we can get out in front or something, that we're not going to try and hold that, but it's just about not taking any risks this weekend.
Yeah, it's quite close. It's been pretty good over the year. Didn't do ourselves any good having a DNF at the last race. That sort of dropped us back a little bit, but yeah, and we're still sort of learning the boat a little bit, but yeah, fighting hard for it.
Yeah, it's come down to this round like it does every year. No one can afford a DNF. The weather's looking more suitable for us today as opposed to yesterday for pole, so yeah, definitely looking forward to getting out there, but it's one little slip up and it's going to cost you the championship, nearly.
The competition in Supercat Outboard is just as intense, with the title fight now between Team 88 Power Zone and the Phantom. Like Maritimo Australia, Team 88 has to finish both races, while the Phantom is quietly praying for mechanical troubles to strike down their rival.
I'm feeling quite nervous this morning. Championship is on the line today. We have got to get through 2 races and make sure we don't have any issues, and looking pretty good, so we are quietly confident, but we'll see at the end of the day. Race strategy is just to finish. We don't have to win. We need to get across the line and collect the points, and that's our main focus for today.
It's been really close between us and 88 all year, and then in Coffs Harbour we had a bit of a mishap where we tipped over, so we've been chasing him ever since, and Griff's got quite a few points head start on today's races, but we're hoping we may be able to catch him. Well, we have to try and win both races today, and no one likes to hope for anything, but if Griff had a DNF today, it would bring the championship very close. We have to go out and try and win it from the start today and try and get in. We've got pole position today, so we have to try and stay in front for the 2 races.
Well, back to our traditional format here at Hervey Bay. Back at Lake Macquarie at the previous round, we had a race on the Saturday instead of a pole position shootout. Gone back to the pole position shootout here this weekend, and great to see the team of Hog's Breath Racing back on board and back out and racing, and they picked up a 3rd place very, very comfortably indeed. Team 88 Power Zone with Michael and Griffith Thal. They did a fantastic job. They put the boat up into 2nd spot and didn't do their championship chances any harm at all. The Phantom, in some sloppy conditions, did a great job to pick up 1st place. Wouldn't have been the boat I would have put my money on in these conditions, but Mick Walker and Ian Harris have done a beautiful job. In the Supercat Extreme, into 3rd place, the Mega Fuels. Brendan and Chris Fryer for Infant's Friend. They did a fantastic job, and that boat, they're just nursing that through. Had a great round at the last round. They want to get going here at Hervey Bay. Team 3 up into 2nd spot. This is the sleeper, I reckon, for this weekend. This boat has been absolutely sensational. Played with a couple of little problems, but nothing too serious. Maritimo Australia took the win in the shootout on Saturday in beautiful Hervey Bay here, and did a great job. So back to racing now, and race number 1 of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championship. Lots of people coming together to make these races happen, in particular the Fraser Coast Council. A big thank you to those guys. We go on board now with the Hog's Breath Racing, and it is Paul Folds and all the way over from New Zealand. We keep importing them, don't we? Chris Hager. Flag goes up, and we are looking for a start. Flag drops, and we're racing here at race number 1, the final round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. And I tell you what, an absolutely cracking start there for the Maritimo Australia. Tom Barry-Cotter and Steve Jellick. Now we go on board with the Mega Fuels, Brendan and Chris Fryer. It is going on everywhere here at Hervey Bay. Quite sloppy conditions. The 222, you can see them on the outside. Darren Nicholson, Peter McGrath. Oh, a big fly there for the Fryer boys. The boat landed right up on its port side. You can see it banging its limiters as it comes up out of the water. The propeller's leaving the water, and this is absolutely gunnel to gunnel, deck to deck racing as we fire up into turn number 1 here at the final round of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships, and it is desperation stations. Have a look at the Fry boys. They are getting absolutely punished in the cockpit of this boat now. Very exciting start to race number 1, and I tell you what, this is really going to come down to the wire. You can just see the pickle forks of the 222 over to their port side, out of their port window, sorry, their starboard window I should say, on this particular boat. So Nicholson and McGrath having an absolute red hot go, and you can also see the Maritimo 12 on the inside, the spray from that boat as these guys run hard on their wash. Tracking now, so race leader Maritimo 12 doing it nicely. Tom Barry-Cotter, Steve Jellick. They've got around about a 5 or 6 boat length lead on the 222, and the Mega Fuels is in there as well. So doing an awesome job. They come down this back chute. This looks a little bit nicer than the actual front chute here at the moment. As we go back on board with the 222, you can see the red hatch levers there. Beautiful, aren't they? Just the detail on these boats is absolutely magnificent. Oh, McGrath and Nicholson, they put the nose of that boat up, and look at Muddy McGrath. So keep an eye on his right hand. That is working the throttles. When this boat comes up out of the water, the propellers leave the water. He needs to come off the throttles, stop these big V8 750 horsepower engines revving themselves into oblivion, but when he lands back in the water, he needs to be back on the throttles and stop the boat tripping itself up and putting its nose in. You're looking at one of the best in the business there. Maritimo 12 speaking of the best in the business. These guys had a shaky start to the season, but they have absolutely come good. Tom Barry-Cotter and Steve Jellick. Stevie Jellick, well, he's a Kiwi that now resides in Australia. I think he's actually applied for Australian residency. We're still thinking about whether we'll let him or not. And Tom Barry-Cotter, of course, the son of the team principal, Bill Barry-Cotter. And Tom, gee, don't they look very, very relaxed? Stevie J, he just looks like the Iceman there in the dark sunnies and just keeping it very, very cool and calm and collected. They're out in front. That's the spot that they like to be in. Team Saracen with a little bit of a personnel change in the cockpit of this boat. They're out in front, and it's the two brothers, Stephen and Matthew Kelly. First time back into offshore racing, particularly first time ever in an enclosed cockpit for Steve Kelly. So this is going to be really interesting. Steve is absolutely old school, hardcore offshore powerboat racer. He, when the cockpits came in, they had an open cockpit boat. The boat dropped away. He didn't race anymore. Matt's his younger brother. He's been steering this boat for Anthony DeFina. Anthony can't be here this weekend. Steve's jumped in the boat. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch how these boys go. I think they're an absolute dark horse, particularly in these conditions. They'll push very, very hard, given that it's not their boat either. So don't worry about that. They'll be giving it everything. Great to see Stevie out there. Welcome back to the championship. Stephen Kelly go on board now with Paul Folds and Chris Hager. A big welcome back to these guys as well. This boat, we have not seen it for the whole championship, so it's terrific to have this boat back out on the water. It's a 28-foot blade catamaran, and it will really enjoy these rough conditions, I think. I think the two smaller boats in that outboard category maybe will struggle a little bit, but we've seen stranger things happen. This is a battle for the lead now as we look at Maritimo, Tom Barry-Cotter, Steve Jellick, and the 222, who we now go on board with. And I tell you what, this is as tight as it gets in offshore powerboat racing. Really rough conditions, and you can see these guys absolutely just giving no inch at all at the moment. You've got the Mega Fuels on the outside. This is 222 that we're on board with, and the boat that you can see leading this arrangement at the moment is the Maritimo 12 with Tom Barry-Cotter and Stevie Jellick. So these guys, you could absolutely, well, you couldn't even fit a postage stamp over them at the moment as they head up the front straight away. Fantastic crowd here as well. Getting ourselves a coffee at Enzo's too, so thank you, Enzo. Battle for second spot in the outboard category at the moment, and it's the long and the short of it, isn't it? We got the little Phantom, little 25-footer, and then the 30-odd footer of the Hog's Breath on the outside of those guys. And so you got Mick Walker and Ian Harris. So Ian Harris on the wheels there. Mick Walker, gee, looks relaxed, doesn't he? He's working that throttle though. Have a look at his right hand there on the throttles. Boat comes up out of the water. He's on and off the throttles. It really is just supreme concentration in these boats. You need nerves of steel. Boats jumping up out of the water. You see the spray just going up over the top of the engine cowl there. This is a ding-dong going on as well. There's battles going on all over Hervey Bay on the Fraser Coast for the Fraser Coast Council here at the moment. They are doing an awesome job as they come in to the top turn, and 222 just pokes its nose into the lead as well. Brennan and Chris Fryer, we go on board with those boys now. Have a look at the punishment that their necks are taking. You can have a look, they're wearing the neck rolls in these boats, or in this particular boat, and that is to obviously just, you know, save your neck from copping the absolute hiding. Your body's strapped in, and your neck is just with the helmet on, just cops an absolute shellacking in these cockpits. And you see the pounding. It doesn't, I can assure you, it doesn't do it justice on television as to what you're actually copping inside the boat. Incredible stuff. Awesome racing now as the 222 now. They poke their nose into the lead, so they're having a little bit of a go here. Nicholson and McGrath are enjoying these rough conditions, and they actually overhaul the Maritimo 12. So it is on Maritimo 12. They don't like being back there. Tom Barry-Cotter and Stevie Jellick, they'll be biting the dashboard at this point in time in the boat. They will not be happy seeing that boat. Not only have they poked their nose in front, they've done the old double switchback and just snuck up the inside as well. That's great racing from those boys, and it is going to continue on all day. Big thank you as well to Wide Bay Cranes, the guys that get these boats in and out of the water safely. Multi-million-dollar boats. It's a big job to get these boys on board. Back on board now with the Beach House Hotel replay, and we watch the overtaking maneuver. I tell you what, there's a little bit more going on than what we first realised, because not only are 222 overhauling the Maritimo 12, but they've actually had to deal with some lap traffic there. We've got the Hog's Breath on the inside, and I think that was the Phantom on the far inside. They've actually had to duck to the outside of those guys. that was a pretty hair-raising moment and a couple of jumps. Not only that, they've managed to put the Maritimo 12 back into second spot. Great driving there from Darren Nicholson and Peter Muddy McGrath. I think we might see a smile on his face for maybe the first time this season as the 222 goes into the lead and pushes hard. Tom Barry-Cotter and Steve Jellick just running hard off the starboard wash of the 222 racing, and this is a ding-dong battle. Both these boats very, very similar in their design. They're both Maritimo hulls. The Maritimo 12 is the older of the two boats. The 222 is really basically a brand new boat last season. It's had a lot of modifications done to it, and these guys are working overtime to get this boat right. They struggled for speed at the last round, but I tell you what, these rough conditions have certainly levelled the field off and really brought the throttle men into play. And Peter Muddy McGrath working overtime. He wants to stay in front of that Maritimo now. Mega Bulk Fuels, and this is a good battle here for second place now as the Mega Fuels are actually making a move on the Maritimo 12. I'm going to say there may be a problem with the Maritimo 12. That was an easy pass there for Brendan and Chris Fryer for Infant's Friend and the Mega Fuels. And, well, interesting stuff now as those guys go up into second place and they push away. So they are actually having a little bit of a look at the 222 here now. So position swaps going on everywhere here at Hervey Bay for this round number 5, race number 1 of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. The Beach House Hotel replay here, and we have a look at Tom Barry-Cotter and Steve Jellick. So, is there an issue with this boat? I'm suggesting that there probably is, because I'll give you the tip, those two blokes in that cockpit don't let boats pass them, and the Fryer boys, the Infant's Friend Mega Fuels machine has just snuck up the inside, gone around them. They'll be absolutely disappointed. Here's a boat that I've been very, very excited to see, and we haven't got to see it yet. It's a Maritimo 11. This is Andrew and Ross Willerton. This is the brand new Maritimo hull. This boat's been built to go to the World Championships in Key West in the United States. Runs the Mercury number 6 outdrives. It's totally different to all of the other boats that are running in the category. We'll have a little bit more of a look at that boat as we go on. We're going to go to a short break. We'll be back with more racing real soon. Welcome back to the show, and this is round number 5, race number 1 of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championship, and we've got an absolute ding-dong battle going on in both categories, Supercat Extreme and the Supercat Outboard, and the Phantom are pushing hard. They are pushing for second spot as Hog's Breath just battling on along a little bit here. It doesn't look like they've got the pace that perhaps they are looking for. The other boat running in the category, obviously, is a Team 88 Power Zone. Now, those guys, Michael and Griffith Thal, the conditions aren't going to suit that boat here, but they need to be cautious because they're leading the championship. They need to get it better down this weekend. So they'll be cautious. They'll just want to get that boat home. The guys that don't need to be cautious, Team Saracen, Stephen and Matt Kelly, the two brothers. Oh, as the Mega Fuels throws its port sponson up into the air. Brendan and Chris Fryer, they've got a sniff here. They're looking at the 222, and they are really trying to make some inroads into this. Brendan and Chris have always run really strong here at the Hervey Bay race. We've seen some fantastic and exciting racing from these young blokes, and it looks as though this weekend is going to be no different. Nothing left to lose here, and they pull up alongside the 222. They take a couple of big hits. They have to back out of the throttle, and they go back down a boat length. There's a 222, Peter Muddy McGrath, the wily old fox with Darren Nicholson. They just run point to point. And, well, the Fryer boys, they were pushing very hard to try and get there. They took that big hit. They had that big fly. Just unsettled them a little bit. Then they couldn't get the boat turned into that corner. And you can see the ground that they lost there. They were right up alongside the 222. Now they've lost around about 3, 4, 5 boat lengths back to the 222. So they're going to have to go and do all that hard work again. But they're pushing hard. The advantage that the 222 has here, it's a bigger boat. It'll be spanning the gaps a little bit better than the little bit shorter Mega Fuels Infant's Friend entry. But the Fryer boys always pushing hard. Speaking of pushing hard, Stevie and Matt Kelly, absolute superstars. Steve Kelly, this is an amazing effort from him. I really got to be honest, I didn't expect anything less. He's a hard charger, he always has been, but it's great to see that he's getting a bit longer in the tooth now, but he's up and about and running hard. Hopefully he can scare his younger brother out in that boat as well. 222 on, oh, look at this, look at that, oh my goodness. 222, they nearly flew over the back of the Saracen there. They took some big hits, you can see the swells coming. McGrath just didn't back out of it at all. They run a little bit wide. Saracen have a look over to their starboard side and they go, holy cow, there's a block of flats coming around us at the moment. It's a 222, but don't worry about that because the Fryer boys are on the scene as well, pushing hard for Infant's Friend and Mega Fuels. 222, the Newcastle sponsored, and the V8 Supercar Newcastle round sponsors of this particular boat. And this is absolutely fantastic racing. Race caller on the day here is Mark Gilbert, and he is absolutely having a heart attack down here on the course. But the 222 are being challenged hard by the Mega Fuels and Brendan and Chris Fryer. Look at them go. They are absolutely throwing everything at this, and this is really interesting. As we've spoken about earlier on, this boat has had some damage as it's gone through the series. They've damaged the bottom of it several times, I think 3 or 4 times. They're not worrying about that now. They know this is their last chance to dance. They know this is the last round. This may even be the last round for this boat. Who knows? But they poke their nose in front. 222 now. This is incredible stuff. The smaller boat overhauling the bigger boat in these tough conditions. The bigger boat there with Darren Nicholson and Peter Muddy McGrath, they're on the inside. They've got the short line to run around, so they need to get in tight, and they do. This is what it's all about. Oh, have a look on the inside there. I think that was the 88 power zone. It looked as though they may have had a little bit of a hook as well. I couldn't really pick it up in the spray. This is intense racing. Amazing stuff. This is absolutely desperate stuff here at Hervey Bay this weekend. And Maritimo 12, unfortunately, I would say, with a problem there. This is 88. The 88 power zone machine with Michael and Griff Ethel, and they are literally creeping along at the moment. I'm not sure if there's a problem with the boat or whether it's just a matter of self-preservation here. I think it's probably just self-preservation. They'd be silly to go out and break the boat now. All they need to do is finish and put points in the bag, and the championship is theirs. The conditions aren't theirs today. They know that they're not going to be able to run with a Saracen or a Hog's Breath in these sort of waters. So what do? They get the boat around in one piece. It's smart racing from the Ethel boys in the 88 power zone, doing a great job. Have a look at the spray over the screen there, and you can see the big boats running down the outside. Magnificent crowd on the beach here as well, down here at Enzo's, and thank you for the coffee, Enzo. That was beautiful. Oh my goodness, what has happened here? Hog's Breath. First time for this boat in the series this year, and unfortunately they have had a problem, and Paul Folds and Chris Hager have come to a grinding halt. Let's hope that this is a problem that they can get sorted between race 1 and race number 2. So, final lap now, and we have got the 222 have poked their nose back into the lead. 222 in front, round about, I'm going to say about 5 or 6 boat lengths. You can tell yourself. Have a look. Mega Fuels on the outside for Infant's Friend. Brendan and Chris Fryer pushing hard. This is to Exploration Stations now as they push hard down into the bottom turn. Social Boat looks like it's just crossed the course there as well. They won't cause them any problems. That's the 222. They need to get this last corner right. Darren Nicholson and Peter McGrath, the Fryer boys now, they'll run to the outside. Can they maintain momentum and try and exit this corner with more boat speed than the 222? This is going to come down to the wire. This is what offshore racing is all about. Desperate stuff now. As you can see, the Rooster Tail, they put it up on its side. They need to keep the props in the water. They need to keep the drive going. The Fryer boys, they put it up on its side again. They're losing ground doing this. 222 now. As they come up, the checkered flag will be produced, and it is going to be the 222 will take the win in this race number 1. Round number 5 of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. They come down through the bottom turn for the last time. The checkered flag is produced, and that was a hectic last corner and final straight for the boys there. These boys won't be too excited. It is the Maritimo number 12 boat, Maritimo Australia, Tom Barry-Cotter, Stevie Jalek, as they just bring the boat in, and not too many smiles going on in the cockpit there as Tom just loosens the belt. Stevie just picks his nose, and they'll be looking for a little bit of pace in race number 2. Stevie Kelly and Matt Kelly, and well, welcome back to Offshore Powerboat Racing, Stephen, because Saracen takes the win representing Victoria, boat 22. It is the Saracen Racing, and Anthony Defina will be very happy with that, although he might lose his job if he's not careful. Then we go down to the Phantom, and they run into second place. That's a great effort considering they're running one of the smallest boats in the category, Mick Walker and Ian Harris. They'll be happy with that one. That'll put good points in the bag. And these guys, well, they've just gone around. They've waited for the attrition to happen. Hog's Breath have dropped out of the race. Michael and Griffith Thal in the 88 power zone entry, and they come through and pick up third place in the outboard category. Let's have a look at the results. So, Supercat Extreme, we had 222 Offshore taking the win back to the Mega Fuels. Maritimo Australia a lap down, and Maritimo Racing 11 also a lap down, and Team 3 unfortunately a DNS. In the Supercat outboard category, a fantastic win there for the Saracen, and over a lap back to the Phantom, 88 power zone, and unfortunately a DNF for the Hog's Breath Racing.
No, it's getting it on now, and we're punishing it. You know, we've changed the ratio a little bit and tried a different propeller, and we're starting to make headway with it. But the boys, the young fellas, they're coming hard. I had to work really hard for that.
Oh, mate, I lost count. It was backwards and forwards, mate, and the guys out there, I mean, it was hard racing. There was waves, there was things going everywhere, the boats going all over the shop, but the boys held on and just pipped us, and they deserve it. They raced well and they raced competitive.
No, yeah, we've had a couple of issues out there, so it started really well for us. Got a great start and the boat felt great. You know, and then we felt the boat sort of getting a bit flighty and a bit dangerous, and we thought we attributed it just to conditions at first, but it was pretty soon we realised that it was a trim issue. So the boys are working tirelessly behind us right now and trying to get it back working again for race 2.
Yeah, race 1 was really good. Boat ran really well. My brother's in the boat for the first time this weekend, and yeah, it went really well together.
Yeah, we got a second. It was a pretty good run. There was one boat had something wrong with it, so anyway, we moved up in the second spot, and I think the championship's still open, so we'll see what happens in the next race. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, good luck to them. There, see what happens. You know, hope they shouldn't break down, but if they do, well, they do. If they don't, well, they don't. You know, who knows?
Yes, we went out there with our main goal, and that was just to get across the line. We've managed to get onto the podium in third spot for the first race, so we're very happy with that, but one more race to go, so the work's not over yet.
Well, how lucky are we to come to beautiful places, and in particular this weekend, Hervey Bay on the Fraser Coast. A big thank you to the Fraser Coast Council, who are supporting this particular race very, very strongly indeed. Some other great supporters here this weekend as well, the Wide Bay Cranes, Handy Hire, and of course the Beach House Hotel. We have been sampling many of the establishments whilst we've been in town, and we certainly thank everybody here in Hervey Bay for their wonderful hospitality. They're always fantastic. Do the street parade on the Friday night, and that is all good too. Here we go. So this is race number 2, the final race of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championships for the year, and it is coming down to the wire. Maritimo 12 not happy with race number 1. They had some issues. We haven't heard what they are yet. They get a cracking start. These blokes, Brendan and Chris Fryer, absolutely lean on it hard. Great to see Team 3 up and running there as well. So we didn't see them in race number 1. Let's see what they can achieve here as well. The 222, race number 1 winner as they get on the gas. Darren Nicholson and Peter Muddy McGrath. We go on board now with Travis Thompson and Johnny Shand, and these guys didn't get to compete race number 1. They'll want to make hay while the sun shines here and push very hard in this beautiful Victory Marine catamaran. Have a look at this, very tight. In fact, a little bit of argy-bargy up into the top turn there as the Infant's Friend Mega Fuels machine pushes out the Newcastle V8 Supercars event. Newcastle sponsored 222 machine. Darren Nicholson Nicholson and Peter McGrath. They have to run the wide line, and up the inside of them is the Team 3. I tell you what, it has been absolutely on like Donkey Kong here at Hervey Bay all weekend, and this final race, well, there's nothing left to lose. You've got to make it or break it. This is what it's about. They need, well, these guys, most of the teams need Maritimo 12 to probably have a DNF. I have to run the numbers, but Maritimo 12, if they can get to the finish, they will win the championship. The rest of the spots are open for anybody to attain. You can see the NZ1 livery on the Team 3 there as well. That denotes NZ1 for Johnny Shand in the cockpit of that particular boat, along with Travis Thompson doing a beautiful job. Have a look at the Fryer boys. They are just so much fun to watch. I tell you what, it's great fun watching it on the TV. If you can get down and watch it live as well, highly recommended. If you're from the Fraser Coast area and you're not down here watching these offshore power boats, you better go and see your doctor, because I think there might be something wrong in your noodle. 222, have a look at them just standing the boat up. It's all tripping and duffing and carrying on all over the place. This is real desperate racing at the moment, but these guys are racing in such close quarters. You can see the wash, I think that is of the Team 3 on the inside there of the Mega Fuels. Maritimo 12 back in the spot that they like to be, and well, they have been for most of the championship. And there is Stevie Jellick and Tom Barry-Cotter. Gee, it looks serene and calm in that cockpit, doesn't it, folks? But I can give you the tip, it ain't. I would be wanting a hug from my mum, maybe a lie down and a cup of tea if I was in the cockpit of that particular boat right now, because look at the pounding these guys coppers. Watching it from the other angle here now. You can see Steve Jellick just working the throttles. I tell you what, he's not working them as hard as perhaps I thought he might. And that's just showing that the boat keeping its props in the water and going beautifully. Phantom now, they're running in third spot in the 600 horsepower category at the moment. And Mick Walker and Ian Harris, great effort from these guys. This boat rolled over 2 rounds ago. They've got it sorted out. They got it back together. Had a couple little issues at the last round, but they certainly got it back up and going. Hog's Breath, not sure what the issue was in race number 1, but here we go. On board now with Chris Hager and Paul Folds. And they're doing a fantastic job. You can see Foldsy, great to see him back in the championship. A really hard worker for the Offshore Superboat Championships, and it's really good to see him back in this boat and throttling it very, very nicely. And he won't mind being out there in front either. Just doesn't run any of the eyewear, just no goggles, no glasses. Hard as nails are our Kiwi competitors out there. Although Foldsy thinks he's still an Australian, he talks funny too. We're not claiming him at all. Maritimo 12 now, down through the bottom turn and doing a beautiful job. Darren Nicholson, Peter McGrath, they won race number 1. They've got their work cut out for them at the moment. They're running back there in third spot, and they won't be happy with that. They'll be thinking, well, we've done all right in race 1. We want to try and replicate that and try and get this boat up on the podium. They'll also be hoping that Maritimo 12 boat stops, because it's about the only way they're going to collect enough points to try and leapfrog them in the championship. Even if that happens now, I think they're probably still going to be in trouble, but they want to try and get up there. Have a look at the speed difference between the 222 and the 88 power zone. 88 power zone, Michael and Griffith L, they are leading the championship solidly. Not their conditions here this weekend. They've made a conscious decision to go out, circulate, get the boat home and get points. These guys, they've got a completely opposite theory. They don't care if they break the boat here this weekend. It's probably a really good test session for this boat. Smash it up as hard as you can and see what breaks for next season, because I know for a fact that Darren Nicholson and Peter McGrath really want to take it up to Team Maritimo next year. And, well, they've done a great job this year. And if they keep improving at the rate that they have been over this season, I think they're going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with. Mega Fuels for Infant's friend now, Brendan and Chris Fryer. And these guys, they just give it everything. We love watching them race. They're absolute legends. And, well, they are... Oh, look at the couple of big hits there. Just have a look at the hits these guys are taking. The boat really pounding. And as I say, television does not do it justice. The shock going up through your body in these boats is unbelievable. Have a look at this. An absolute 3-way battle going down into, well, 2-way battle as they overhaul. I think that's a Hog's Breath on the inside. Oh, tight. Oh, this is very tight. Did they touch? I don't know. I don't think they did. That was about as close as you ever wanted to get. And that was just racing, wasn't it? I mean, Maritimo turning the boat in hard. 222 turned their boat in, but it just caught a little bit of air. When they catch a little bit of air like that, when you've got them turned in, they just step sideways. There's nothing you can do about it. Great job by the Maritimo boys, in fact, Tom Barry Cotter, just to steer to starboard, just to avoid a collision there, and that was great driving there from Team Maritimo and 222. Let's go back to the Beach House Hotel replay of this one. So, Maritimo running the different line. They ran them really tight, and you can see 222 just ran a little bit, well, I don't even think they ran wide there. It was just two different angles of attack from two different race lines that they came in on. And, well, it just got incredibly tight and incredibly close. I think both of them held their pole pretty well, but just a slightly different angle of approach and nearly turned into absolute disaster. But they're through and we are racing. Saracen there on the inside. They're running second spot in the 600 horsepower outboard category at the moment with Stephen and Matt Kelly, the brothers on board. Team 3. They go around the outside of them. Let's have a look here. So we go on board now with the Saracen. So you got Matt Kelly there. They had steering issues with this boat at the last round at Lake Macquarie, and that boat's now been sorted out. So he's a much happier camper. Steve Kelly, have a look at him just working the throttles in this beautiful 28-foot AA Defina Saracen design boat. It's running the 3.2 litre Mercury Optimax engines on the transom of that particular boat, and they are going very, very nicely indeed. 222 still pushing hard, trying to make up some ground. More great racing coming your way on the other side of the break. Welcome back to the show. This is round number 5, the final round of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championship for Hi-Tec Oils and the Fraser Coast Council, and we are tracking with the 222. They are your race leader in the Supercat Extreme category with Darren Nicholson and Peter McGrath, but the real battle is going on behind these guys between Maritimo and Mega Fuels. Mega Fuels with Brendan and Chris Fryer in the cockpit and charging hard. We saw a look at these conditions. These conditions are interesting because they're not rough enough to slow the boats down, but they are rough enough to throw the boats in the air. These are the sorts of conditions where you're really on the edge of your seat in the cockpit of the boat because you're just waiting for that big wave to throw the boat up on its side. This is where the throttle men really earn their money. They have to be 100% on their game. And this is the challenge that we're talking about. We're looking at the lap times, and Mega Fuels is making inroads into this second place that the Maritimo are running in at the moment. So, can Brendan and Chris Fryer get the job done here in the Infant's Friend Mega Fuels entry, or can the Maritimo Australia machine with Tom Barry Cotter and Steve Jellick hold these guys off? This is what it's going to come down to. 222 have got a good break now, and they're setting off on their merry way. But the real battle going on behind them at the moment. We go on board now. Brendan and Chris, they can sniff, they can taste that Maritimo blood at the moment, and they want it. Tom Barry Cotter and Steve Jellick, they'll see this Mega Fuels boat in their rear vision mirrors as they come around. I think that was Phantom on their port side there, just going around the outside of those guys now. And oh, look at the punishment they're taking. This is a boat that has been broken multiple times this championship, and they don't care. They're just pushing hard. They figure if we break it in the last race, we've got plenty of time to fix it for next season. But they are pushing absolutely hard, and they are pushing to try and catch the championship leader and probably the mightiest offshore boat that Australia has to offer, Team Maritimo with Tom Barry Cotter and Steve Jellick. They didn't win race number 1. They were disappointed about that. They are trying to just hold on to track position here at the moment as the 222 runs out in front of them. Lap traffic now becoming a factor. This is a great shot. You get to see the different angles and the different lines that these boats take. It's not like a racetrack where one certain line is the correct racing line. You can run different angles. Some of these guys, considering their boats, will run a wider line and try and maintain momentum. Other guys will run point to point. You can see the outboard boats just running that shortest line possible, point to point, trying to get it to run obviously the shortest distance possible, whereas with with the bigger boats, they're trying to keep that momentum up, keep the big power slide going, keep the speed up, keep the average speed up. That's what it's about. Travis Thompson and Johnny Shan, this boat, it's going to be, I certainly hope we see this boat next season, because it's still really in its developmental stages. Although this team has had this boat for a long, long time, these 750 horsepower carburetted big block engines are brand new to the team. They're the same engine that all the other teams are running, and I think that boat is absolutely going to be very, very super competitive at the bare minimum next season, if not dominate. Saracen now, we go on board with these guys, Stephen and Matt Kelly, and I think they might have a little bit of an issue here. Our observers out on the course are telling us that they just don't have the pace that they had in race number 1, and you can see the guys there. I just don't think that boat is performing in a way that that Saracen boat would normally perform. So disappointing there. Yeah, you can see it's running carving a track up the water. It's not skipping up across the top of the waves, and it's actually more uncomfortable to run that way than it is to run fast, because you really hit the waves hard when you just have a little bit off the pace and not jumping and flying. So Stephen and Matt, they'll be disappointed with that. They've had one win, but it doesn't look like it's going to be their day in this race number 2 here. Big thank you to the Fraser Coast Council, fabulous sponsors here this weekend, along with Handy Hire and Wide Bay Cranes. I'd like to thank all those guys for their fabulous support here this weekend. They do a great job. The Fraser Coast has absolutely, as always, turned it on for us. Tell you what, white pasty Victorian like me, I'm getting sunburn up here and I'm loving every minute of it. Don't forget to slip, slop and slap, folks. Very, very important. 222, we're on board with those guys now. And you can see the propellers coming out of the water. This is where the throttle man has to be on his game. When those props come out of the water, like just there, you see the wash of the boat just completely disappears. Propellers and boat out of the water. You've got to come off the throttles, stop those revving, those engines revving themselves into oblivion and destroying themselves. The load comes off the props, the engines zing themselves up. Throttle man has to be on his game. Pull off. When the boat re-enters and lands, you need to try and match the boat speed with the propeller speed, and that's where the skill of the throttle man comes in. He needs to be back on the throttles as the boat re-enters so the boat picks its nose up. If the propellers are going slower than the boat, the nose of the boat will stuff itself into the back of the next wave, and that's where you have an absolute disaster on your hands. Just watch this now as we go back on board now with the 222, and you'll see the wash just disappearing as they hit some of those big waves, and you can see the propellers throwing up a mountain of water. That's Peter McGrath getting hard back on the throttle when the boat re-enters. Those big plumes of water coming out, that is him just working the sticks and doing a beautiful job. One of the best in the business, just beautiful to watch, Peter Muddy McGrath. See the props of the Maritimo coming up out of the water now. This is the battle for second place, and Mega Fuels, Infant's friend, the Fryer boys, they arrive on the scene. They do the old double switchback. They go from the outside to the inside. Now Maritimo's got a challenge on their hands. They have absolutely had to work for this championship here this weekend. Fryer boys now, they'll throw everything at it. They've only got a few minutes left to race. Can they get round? Can they move up into that second place? I tell you what, it's not looking good for Maritimo at the moment. The Fryer boys with a bit between their teeth. They're like a dog with a bone at the moment. They don't want to let go. They want to put that Maritimo boat behind them. As they pull up alongside, they're about to give them a little wave. Although I don't think anyone's going to be letting go of any steering wheels or throttles here at the moment to do that. We go on board the deck now with Brendan and Chris Fryer. They have got momentum on their side. They're on a hard charge. Mega Fuels, Infant's friend, up into second place now. Well, side by side, it's a ding-dong battle between them and Maritimo. Have a look at this. Maritimo goes the outside. Infant's friend, Mega Fuels, just jumps up onto its starboard side there, and they put it up into second place. Brendan and Chris Fryer get the job done on the Maritimo, and Tom Barry Cotter and Stevie Jellick will be absolutely livid with this one, because the Fryer boys are on the hard charge here at beautiful Hervey Bay on the Fraser Coast. Out in front now, 222, doing it very, very nicely indeed. Beautiful livery on this boat, just such a professional team. Darren Nicholson, one of the most professional and nicest guys you will ever come across. He is absolutely laconic and does a beautiful job with his team and his boat and his entire setup, and they just approach it so professionally, and this is a great credit to them that they're out in front. They've had one win here this weekend, and it looks as though if they can continue going on this way, that they can put number 2 in the bag as well, and hopefully for them cement themselves second position in the championship. Hog's breath. So Chrissy Hager and Paul Folds. That's Paul Folds on the throttles there. He's got a little smile on his face. Hager there, he's over from New Zealand. He's You can see there he's running the neck restraint in his boat as well. So this is the safety gear, and you can see the very, very extensive roll cage in that particular boat. So amazing stuff. So we set off now on our last lap, and have a look at the damage on the Mega Fuels. It's peeled its livery off, it's peeled gel coat off from underneath the front, the stickers are coming off. It is absolutely battle wounded, but they continue on. Tom Barry-Cotter and Steve Jellick, I would say, just looking at the body language and the attitude of that boat, that they may have an issue going on in this boat. Very, very unusual for them to let anyone up the inside the way that they did. And I reckon Tom and Steve, although they know they've got the championship, and it could just be the fact that they are running the smart game, getting that boat home in one piece, because if they hit the checkered flag, they're going to win the championship, and it looks as though they're going to get it done. So awesome effort for the guys here at the moment as they just get the boat around the course and get it done. 222 though, they push hard. Nicholson and McGrath, they've got one to go, and they can taste victory here. This will be number 2 from 2 here at the Hervey Bay final round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championships. Got a boat just in front of them. They're obviously putting a lap on that boat as they come through. Can't quite pick up who it is at the moment, but we should see Mr. Paul Gibbs produce the checkered flag for these guys as they come through. The crowd is absolutely going wild out here at Hervey Bay. You see Maritimo just jumping out the background there as well. We'll see a checkered flag here, I would suggest, as they come down on the Hog's Breath finish boat. And it is going to be a win for the 222, Darren Nicholson and Peter Muddy McGrath. They'll be ecstatic with that one. And these guys, you've got to give them an absolute credit. Brendan and Chris Fryer for the Mega Fuels for Infant's Friend. They come through into second place, and that boat has got more wounds on it than a World War II fighter plane as it comes back in and gets the job done here. The final race, the final round of the 2017 Australian Offshore Superboat Championships for Hi-Tec Oils. Maritimo 12, and this will be a championship bedded down for Tom Barry-Cotter and Stevie Jellick as they bring the boat home into third place in this one, but they win the championship. They're ecstatic. You can see, I think it was just tactics. Bring this boat home in one piece, get the job done, smart racing, and that's about as animated as you'll see Mr. Steve Jelly. Comes through now, and the Hog's Breath takes the win in the Supercat outboard category. And you can see Folsey, he's pretty happy. His old mate Paul Gibbs on the finish boat, he gives him a wave. And Chrissy Hagar, well, you won't wipe the smile off his face tonight either. They didn't do the entire championship. In fact, they only raced this round, but to get a win in, they'll be very, very happy with that, especially to knock off the boys in Saracen there, who would have been their major competition, but unfortunately for Saracen, having a couple of issues there. Team 88, they'll come through and they'll pick up 4th place, but the big news for those guys, that is the championship in the bag. Let's have a look. Supercat Extreme, 222 Offshore taking the win here. Back to the Mega Fuels, Maritimo Australia, Team 3, and unfortunately Maritimo 11, a DNF. And in the Supercat outboard category, the Hog's Breath Racing takes the chocolates back to Saracen, and then it was Phantom back to 88 Power Zone Racing.
Oh yeah, we're over the moon. You know, we've done. It's been a great year for us. You know, team has put together such an awesome boat for us. Steve here's done such a good job. You know, throttling. What didn't all quite go to plan today. We had a couple of issues, but like I said, the strategy was just to get home in the points, and that's what we were able to do. So it feels great.
We had a few trim issues in theirs, but the team, we got back here, the team worked tirelessly straight on it and got us back out there again, and done the right thing so we can get out there and just cruise around.
Yeah, it was terrific today. Qualifying didn't go how I thought, and so I had to overnight think of a different setup and just try. We're trying to get this boat to go good, and it was really good. I admit today I was a bit angrier than normal because I wanted to really see how it would go, and I ran it as hard as I could run it, and we were pretty successful.
Oh mate, it's been a pretty hard season and very hard racing today, but to come through with that after everything we've been through, I think it's a great result and a credit to the team. You know, we're pretty pumped. Every year we come to Hervey Bay, you know, it ends up being rough and blowing a northerly, and they always say it's the calmest race we can have, but we ended up out there, and it ends up being, you know, conditions that the body comes back absolutely ruined as much as the boat.
Absolutely ecstatic. It's been one tough weekend, but we've managed to get the boat home safe and bagged all the points, and yeah, we can celebrate now. Very happy.
He has just come so far since he started in his first Supercat drive. He is driving like a true champion, and he has certainly earned it this year.
Yeah, pretty good, mate. We've had a good run today, and well, everything went well for the whole year, and you know, you have your sort of ups and downs with it. So, but we're all good, and congratulations to 88. They won the championship, so good luck to them.
Yeah, the race one was a bit of a problem, and then race two we come out, then water just suited us, and Krista did a great job coming from New Zealand and filling it in, but tough conditions out there at Hervey Bay, typical Hervey Bay conditions, but really happy with the win.
Well, tough racing. Let's have a look. Supercat Extreme Points and Maritimo atop of the table there. Back to the Mega Fuels, 222 Offshore, Maritimo Racing and Team Australia 2. And in the Supercat Outboard category, Team 88 Power Zone atop of the table. Back to the Phantom, Mancini Cosmetics into third, then Saracen and the SUV Simrad. The Oz 1 final championship points, and taking the chocolates there was the Maritimo Australia. Back to the 222 Offshore, Mega Fuels, Team 88 Power Zone, Maritimo Racing, Phantom, Saracen and Mancini Cosmetics. Well, that wraps up not only the final round, but the final chapter for 2017. A big congratulations to the winners and commiserations to the losers. We certainly hope that you've enjoyed all the racing throughout the 2017 Hi-Tec Oils Australian Offshore Superboat Championship. We'll be back to do it all again next season. My name's Dave Bishop. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Coming up after the break, we head to Sydney Motorsport Park for the penultimate round of the Swan Super Series for 2017.